Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm joined by the peaceful Gigamax Pikachu Peace. Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Today, I want to talk about, because I got a couple comments talking about this after I made that Dragon Ball Fighter Z video, what I have as a final character, or the final DLC. And I was thinking, it's another example of why I think that tag team games are your biggest excuse to make really wacky changes of a game system, to put in really wacky ideas, basically, right? And I'm saying this because I got a couple comments specifically to talk about this. I had one guy, and he's like, what about if they changed Dragon Ball Fighter Z? He's like, do you think it would be okay if they added like a burst mechanic, right? But the burst mechanic was, you got to waste one of your other teammates, and it takes like half-life or some shit of them, right? And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I mean, could you do it? I mean, you could do anything. Would I do it? No, I don't think it's an interesting idea. But then this guy, we'll give him a shout out because I forgot about it. I said before you could put in Bojack as a Ginyu character, I guess, right? But the idea of what really kind of got my brain flowing, and this Fingers guy, I guess, we'll give him credit for it. He's like, oh, well, what if Bojack had a burst or something like that, whatever he said, but he had to sacrifice Zidania. There's no Dune 3. Zidania, Jenga, Zanga, whatever the fuck her name is. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, instantly, dude, you sold me. I want Bojack as a character, because my brain, I was like, whoa, wait a second. That could actually put a weird spin on a video game, right? Or a fighting game, right? And just 1v1, video games nowadays, characters are way too homogenized, way too many homogenized mechanics. So even 1v1 games, you need to be more crazy, I think. But tag team games, like I said, there's such a huge excuse to make characters as wacky as almost possible, because no matter how wacky a character is that at face value, the fact that you can have two other wacky things on your team means you can compensate for the potential weakness of your wackiness in one way or the other if you start to like go off one side of the spectrum, right? Because what I was thinking about Bojack, right? I'm like, okay, Bojack, yeah, you could do a Ginyu thing. And when he said that idea of actually sacrificing Zidania, so no Dune 3 or whatever, I was like, oh shit, you sold me, motherfucker. Now I'm thinking about it. Because I was like, okay, so imagine Bojack, dude, right? Like, I'm smiling because it makes me even laugh, because I can imagine commentators joking about it, right? But it's like something you could joke about with friends, and it's actually competitive. So imagine Bojack like Ginyu. Some of your teammates, they have these different special moves. Well, like Bojack in the movie or whatever, like terrible, he's a retarded character, but his little henchmen guys, they have these little web moves, right? Where they zap you and you get stung or some shit like that. And it's like sapping your energy. So maybe if you have all your teammates, when you do some of these special moves, the webs are better. Like, they not only take your super, but they also drain your health. But you need all three webs. Maybe some webs only are shot at certain areas. Maybe if you do a level 3, the web can actually be unblockable or some shit. Give it some kind of weird attribute, but guess what? Also, if he sacrifices Zidania or Zangajenya or whatever, he's one of the only characters that has a burst. He can burst out of something because he sacrifices Zidania, he shoots her, he's like, get out of here, ho, get out of here, bitch, hit the road. And he shoots a fireball and it can hurt you and hit you and he gets out of the thing. But guess what? Because he did that, his web special moves, his sort of main way that he fights is now gone. Now his web is not as good. Now his web maybe only takes your super. It doesn't actually drain your health as well. Maybe his web doesn't go as far on the screen or some shit like that. Something like that. Or maybe he doesn't have Zidania's kicky special move. So he actually loses some of his versatility. And one of his main gimmicks also, he has to trade a gimmick for a gimmick, right? When you go into the match, you hear the announcers like, oh fuck, he's getting fucked up. Boner up the butthole, and he's not gay. He's in trouble. Like, he's, mashallah, inshallah, brother, what are you going to do? I don't know, right? And the announcers or something like, oh man, well, he could sacrifice Zidania. And you're like, but if he sacrifices Zidania, then he's, even if he gets out of the combo, now he has to use different tools. His tools aren't as good to win the match. Or, maybe his level 3 isn't good because his level 3 is no longer unblockable, or it does less damage because she doesn't come out and kick you as well. Anyway, the point is, when I heard that, I'm like, well, he didn't say all of that. That was just me. He just said the thing sacrificing as a burst. I'm like, well, that's all I needed. That's all I needed to get my brain working, right? So what I'm getting at there is, you're like, whoa, there's a different spin on a character that is just so weird. There's no character like that in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And that would be such a weird, wacky character, even in a one-on-one game. But you're like, for a verse game, you can have wacky shit even more so. That's like when I made that fucking video about Vegeta's final explosion. And it's a great idea. It came from me. So, of course, it's a genius idea. It's a particularly genius idea of my treasure chest of genius ideas, right? The final explosion, but that's an example of a video where that's a move, what I said for that move would never fucking work in a 1v1 game because it doesn't make sense. It's something that would only be possible in a tag team game. So, again, I actually like wacky shit. And I've said this many times before. I even think better a game fails for being weird than a game fail for being boring. You know what I mean? So, that's my opinion. So, I you know what? The Bojack idea makes me laugh so much that there could be situations of like the announcers being like, oh, fuck, is he going to sacrifice Zidane? Is he going to sacrifice Jenga? You know what I mean? Is he going to sacrifice her to get out of this combo? And of course, it's a burst that actually hits you because he shoots you with a fireball. So you could try to bait the burst, but a laser beam, you still got to take block damage or something like that. It's just such a weird idea, and I love it. I'm totally on board. Now, again, this isn't to talk shit about the other guy, his idea, because I know he posts on my channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. But it was just an idea. It's like, yeah, excuse me. I'm like, yeah, you could put in a burst, I guess. You know what I mean? And you could, say, oh, well, the other guy comes out and, you got to sacrifice half-life. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I guess. It doesn't provoke me. It doesn't provoke thought or imagination to me personally. And, admittedly, I'm old. Put me in the retirement home. I've played enough video games. You need to get me up. It's hard to teach this old dog new tricks, so to speak, right? Like, you got to come up with something like really interesting to me to make me think. Just like, there's that recent Marvel drama, whatever, people, oh, Clayton never did this. We did so much more. It's like, dude, it's a fucking 13-year-old video did more than you, This isn't that you can't lab. You can play all the games you want. I'm not going to give you credit for something that you want. Oh, this is my galaxy brain idea. No one ever thought of this. Clayton would never think of this. Oh, actually, Clayton, he's actually talked about this in videos before, but give me credit. It takes a lot to get my brain working, right? But tag team games, put in wacky shit, dude. As long as as long as you're not putting something in the game with ill intention, right? I think you're fine with putting in wacky shit in a tag team game especially, right? So it's almost sad that I kind of like that Bojack idea because I think Bojack is really fucking stupid. But, that idea, again, it's kind of funny. So maybe we need 7 DLC. There needs to be 7 DLCs if there was ever a final Dragon Ball FighterZ game because I kind of like that idea, actually, to be honest with you. But remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end. Oh, speaking of wacky ideas, though, I'll say another example. There's for ideas with bad intentions, there's this other content creator who, oh God, I think I've talked about him sort of a little bit before. And he had an idea for, his idea for Raditz was, and of course what I said is just a bajillion times better, but this just goes to show like your wackiness needs to be based on some reality. He was like, I think Raditz could have a gimmick where every character is given a special move that only works versus Raditz, and you can grab his tail. And I was like, oh God. Oh my God, the pain. Are you retarded? You're going to give, this Dragon Ball FighterZ has such little moves, and you're going to give everyone a new special command whenever they verse Raditz. It's a grab his tail command. And I was like, oh God, That is that is wackiness not based on reality. That is based on pure delusion and retardation. You know, I was just like, oh, jeez, please stop. Please. Let's try this again with the Gigamax Pikachu appears. Remember, like the videos, like sub, to the comments, share, support the channel if you want to. Appreciate it. Thanks. The end.